forward into California. I'm bringing it. Not only Temple and place in the nation, and he would have nautical. They go to California. Their search for potential forever shape California landscape. Effects of the miner's actions.
Yeah, you can tell me all the bullshit you want. I don't know how many wars your father was in. I don't know. Really don't give a shit. Yeah, my father had 75 combat. I think that's quite a few. But you seem to know more than anybody else about war. I wasn't alive when he did this, but he called Vietnam, he called Korea chicken shit war, he called Vietnam chicken shit war, he called everything that's taking place in World War II chicken shit war, and full of nonsense. But you're the champion. You know all about it because you've been there. And it must be because you, unlike my father, were invited. My father was Jew. I was along with my father. His father was good friends with Jim Leslie, Jim Marshall brothers, and he went out to President Eisenhower. First of all, several times. They're your friends. That was his fireman. Broke through and watched the front. Then Dad with this group. So you know all about war. I don't. He was all school. The only president he really thought of after that I heard. I mean, George Herbert Bush, but he had been in there.
Patient investment rather first.
Well, you and this few comfort magnet people.
Has done. Americans have to and be everything they want. John May said, America always has a face A. And James Marshall, Bay of the Wedding America went. I went upon something. I can imagine just how in that moment such great events often start with a this kid started with one man. The explosion of people, accelerated American expansion, created it in never country meant old there come next, and the need for a more efficient and travel. Man's continent, last great expansion and expression.
Well, if you are watching my post, let me know. I like to look at your post. See how you doing. These days, You just go and look. Now, if you always drive by, you don't really get it. You just drive by. Oh, they get you. Oh, okay. I don't make you really care about it. They just ban you stuff. They make you be a number patron. Which will take you all the way. Go watch Carl Failure. He plays with Pete and Seedy. Ben. He is funny. He's the meeting. And but
communication in most conditions.
not real.
But huge. Vegetable. So much pride. So much rage. Currents of it. About just so many obey. Nature. All began. Marriage.
You and Trump the other day enjoy his bullshit. I am not. I know that Trump just lies. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about himself. And
He was out walking.
we didn't win. Iran won. Iran is world power now. They control the world economy. And Trump gave it that much. He makes me so happy.
Disco.
Makes me so happy. Makes me so happy. How can I not be happy that you know, I've got an orange blob that says lie. I haven't known him to do anything but lie. Have you? He told you he won. Won what? What did he win? Nothing. Guess what? We could probably go beat up Haiti. No. We'd probably beat up the Dominican Republic. We'd have a hard time with Cuba though. You think he can beat Cuba? Cuba got some of the toughest troops in the world. But then again, I can't say that to you because you know him. If you know what they do. I don't. None of Trump's 10 points that he pointed out to win the game will ever achieve. Really care? No, we won. We won. Let's see. Iran was an outcast. Totally. And that war is a major goal. They control the economy most of the world. It was 20%.
They were going for you did them. Now come. If there's one thing Americans love, good rank, in the middle of that story has to be kidnapping, like again, cracking guys. Along those lines, Al Capone started from near the bottom of the society. His parents were Italian-American immigrants. His family lived in a rundown tenement with a naval yard. As such, he very little right to sailors. However, Capone's roots weren't quite that magic. His father...
You enjoy today. Hang out with those who think you want. It's getting you through what you want.
was slowly began to think.
We were just recovering from years of downtime with COVID-19. That's it.
It was a fall.
Now we're back even worse than COVID because Johnny baby started a war that nobody wanted.
Lawsuit.
Well, you enjoy yourself. What did you think about it? You and it's fun. The thing you want.
Name was
And you can have a two-person bar. You're not going to win. It's one of the most corrupt, most stations. It is the most corrupt. Just be interested. And you and me, you. Well, that is corrupt.
that he played back. And commented that something his brother so think of it. Frank wasn't as big as Al, but he did have a knife. Carved coming across the face 3 times. It took 80 stitches, and the lines left behind made it back. Famous. While the world may have called him Scarface, Al's friends had another slightly less
Snarky.
threatening nickname. Snarky. Yes, you said that right. Snarky. One of the most dangerous mob bosses in the world and said Snorky. Why? Because in 1920 Chicago, Snorky was a gang sharp dresser and Capone had a weakness for expensive imported Italians. He also reports that his friends occasionally called him the big fellow. That one claiming. Al Capone liked them. Besides his fondness for something to Capone started making bank and a great deal of it on his clothes. In fact, Capone would sell out in the neighborhood of $500 for something. Might not seem a lot, heard it from 1920 era prices. That's the modern day equivalent of almost $7,000. Of course, that much stuff was down. To protect this, also his life, had a 19 Cadillac V8000 reinforced car. The car was loaded with 3,000 pounds of glass window, equivalent of a tank, and in a twist that would make James jealous, the car had a few other cool extras. But the rear and side of the car, Benjamin, back and attacker, acting behind the car. The home was the OG I Ride. Golfing was boss of American tradition. Capone and his men loved to go golfing. While they enjoyed the game, they enjoyed more was now. The Capone gang was reported to have drank heavily on Jefferson. On almost all of them, that's the golf bag. But with a gangster in the 1920 Chicago, you have to bring that all the many times. On one outing in 1998, Capone hit a fellow mobster as the killer first. Jake greasy thumb doesn't. Got the nerve. Capone went searching for the bag for love and accidentally grabbed his revolver. Fired a shot. Capone was rushed to the Department Hospital. He was registered under the name of Fury. Profile. Capone spent money like it was water. On fancy high-tech cars with armor and gadgets, yet never ran out of cash. He, as a Chicago boss with interests in racketeering, gambling, prostitution, begging advice, every imaginable kind, Capone was able to amass a staggering amount. In fact, Capone is believed to have earned the area $100 million a year. That was in the 1920s. Adjusted for inflation in $2020, Al Capone's fortune today be worth somewhere north of $1.3 billion. That's billion, being all something like Jeff Bezos. To maintain his iron grip on crime in Chicago, Al Capone had one simple task: without anyone there to inspect. It didn't matter if you were a customer or a competitor. Of course, when you whack that many people, sounds pretty impressive. Hell had that covered, though. To keep the men out of jail and safe to prosecute, Capone put unprecedented numbers of police officers, politicians, lawyers, and judges on his team. Spent millions for a bribe. Establishment on his side and way. Came to crime, Al Capone had a key. Failed him over the course of his life. At the age of 18, Al had contracted syphilis, never bothered.
We just look, no one says anything.
Untreated.
If you don't say anything, I'll ban you. I don't care. You just come up to drive by, you know, I wonder about people. I understand now why people target me. These drive-by viewers that don't say anything, just come and win. And don't do anything. For free. And don't say anything. Don't reinforce it what you do or something. Just think that they're entitled. So I understand why people you gotta have a patron to enjoy it. We can get freedom. Yeah, it should. And I want to do that. I made it. And people from doing it. You can ask. I'm going to ask for you to join. If you don't join, you don't get to. If you don't join, you don't get to the line. If you don't join and say something, you just get banned. I don't need you. But apparently you don't need me. So, if you did, you'd say something. No. Yeah. That's how it's going to end.
After modern miracle. That one family, Allen and Ralph, extensively lobbied the Chicago City. That's a law requiring all milk bottles to bear. Story goes that relatives now allowed to strangely, and he also invested that his brother-in-law partially robbed. His brother Ralph was so heavily involved, he acquired the nickname Pummels. Being vicious and powerful criminal, made Capone different from his competitors that he loved spotlight, gangsters, typically secret publicity. Capone enjoyed flashes and publicly wanting the highly illegal activities. Capone was so obsessed with his public image that he even hired his own press agent to trial for federal crime. That press agent was writer Damon Runyon. Stories go on to form the basis of the Broadway musical Dies a Doll. Despite being loved by the public and having half the city payroll, Capone was eventually caught. In 1931, convicted of tax time at a federal prison in Atlanta. However, the prison couldn't control him. Capone bribed guards and even from behind bars. Not to be outdone, the government transferred Capone to Alcatraz in 1934. Rock was famous for its security. Capone's reputation fell with that. Guards were indifferent to him. His fellow inmates feared him. One even stabbed him with a pair of barbers. It was here that the long-term effects of it. 1939, his mind mostly gone. Capone was transferred to the line of Bisbee, California. He served out the rest of his sentence, granted parole later that year. The rest of his life was spent battling disease. He finally succumbed to in 1957. Having no full education, that's the era, legendary mob boss and his casino owner Benny Binion had a tremendous advocacy for the development of Las Vegas, Nevada, a massive contradiction known as a night sky, but also deadly foe. Cross. Today we're looking back on the strange life of gambling icon Benny Binion, the friendliest mobster in Las Vegas. After Las Vegas, he's sometimes proud. Lester Ben Binion, by many, born in 1904, was in the Dallas suburb of Pilot Grove, Texas. Stuck with his Texas roots all his life. Cowboy has nearly every day, and he's walking around Vegas from Binion, office, appearances, also, there's a priority. By his own account, never professed but his health gradually found peace. From Betty began to go on his parlor. Probably were not the most. And his cars and other opera. Trader, farmers, downtown. Also, side gigs that they currently don't pay. Maybe still. Yeah. Criminal career started at around 8. Started working for a prohibition. A solid entry-level crime gig. Currency and minor responsibility. Pretty good. But thanks to his cleverness and motto, Ben self-esteem. Underworld legend has it that he once sold an entire stash of top drunk. There are not things actually down that way. By 1928, Binion's notoriety in the criminal world was on the rise. Still moving right on the hair. But it up so small time. A man named Warren Diamond was Binion taught him not just about running numbers. Binion's later pursuit of the education, Diamond's advice on how to carry one's public was armed cowboy. More on that. When Diamond being Binion, from that time, conflict, tranquil. Been saying that after the sexual opinion of the internet, down to hang-up, holding, brandished the nut, prompting Binion to pull out his fire. Binion later in rival never after. Nonetheless, he maintained the questionable life that he had seen and shot holding it. A long term. Front and the cowboy. As you might expect with any mob guy called the cowboy, that's the only untimely demise. Presley and Carl. On September 12, 1936, got into his territory. And the conflict allegedly also got consulted, allowing him harm. Regardless of was his settlement. That's pretty self-defense. So, buddy, also. Binion also had bad blood with another Dallas gambler by the name of Herbert Cassidy. Visually, Noble served as bodyguard for a Milligan. Amber was ultimately attacked by another. Both men. After the whacking, Murray missed and was posted. But in the process, then
in that movie.
People went in together on a new venture called the Pyramid. Indian, Upfield, competition, and allegedly ended that Laudermill profit of labor. They told him to advance, reportedly through For time, the horseshoe policy allow bed subjects to last so long, subsequent bed. Nextly, on the Arrow. Cowboy was behind a number of other A. Now big. Fashion. Also. Passengers property. Many of offering don't show rules and body current, operating by federally benefit.
Artifact.
Survey, hopefully,
But, well, yeah, right, sorry, I have that. And I just a tire track. You have snake shot. And 22 snake shot. That's ball. Thing, if you see it. Yeah. Hopefully it'll go away. I got a black snake. I gotta see that.
Born October 9th, John Lennon, Turkey, Thurston, was arguably popular prolific songwriter behind hits like Together, Imagine, and his body of work. Lennon was fatally shot. The hours leading to his death, Dr. Kelly for lunch. After he finished, his Lennon influence backed up at our progress. But Lennon apparently told Kelly very well. Strong. Right. The rock of the ball is based by famous songs like Purple Haze, by Mary, Joe, Interested, on the night of September 17th, 70, on the Canada, are of course reflected on the great Canada. About an hour later, according to his girlfriend's statement, and after Mountain, Dennis, Coleman, pretty good. Jim Morrison, like an electron band, there is no very like higher opinion. Either of them. He's curious just about the end. But second last night, they stopped for a flight of Chinese festival. Was it reportedly sessions? Hours. Then chicken. The weather was perfect. During the early morning hours, July 3rd, suddenly, as the singer guitarist and songwriter of Nirvana, one of the most fans, Kurt Cobain and like Travis Barr and Berkeley. The band reshaped rock music and had a legacy that lasts to this very day. Apparently, very last thing. Final Texas restaurant. Cobain. And on Goldman. Featuring comprised flesh.
That'll be up today.
They're out of the Texas and according to the restaurant's owner, they're spreading the tomorrow. Most of his wife
What can do? Either one time.
After his time with the Jackson 5, Jackson thriller, Jackson passed away suddenly on Jackson 9. At the time of his death, Jackson's personal staff was preparing the same function a traditional Philadelphia vegetable. Jackson, I think, had served him his final meal and a full bar, turkey, salad, and his salad. According to the chef, he piled it. Shortly after dining on Ahi Pizza, the pizza popped, and right now can't wait $900. And come right and left. You have a chance to win big. No ads, no tricks. Any price you win, cash out straight to your bank account. All these things make your free daily bonus.
Enjoy that we won them. Man, the economy is going to get even further. And, well, all our allies in the state have been hit. Damage to all of them. But we won, right? All you got paid. UAE did. We all got hit. That's tremendous damage. We won. Isn't that the way you win? You make sure all your allies get more people, more illegal damage to your country than you do. And that's how you make friends.
Near Russell, Paul's house. There was just one. Local authorities refused movement not only in Woodstock, but also in nearby towns. Negotiations began in the town of Walkill, while a 300-acre site was eventually promised the town's and tenure. Less than 6 weeks remaining before Chicago's concert, voter Michael Lang received an offer to rent a 30-acre rundown motel area in White Lake, County Village. When Lang realized the motel area was essentially swamp, a local real estate agent
enjoy
the
it.
land.
The victory you won't find me at. And say if you're prepared for and all of these officers, they got hit. Yeah, they got all the damage. And now you want to make sure that it's not your country if they damage property and kill people. It's drugs. Yeah. In the middle of it. Every one of them got hit. Yeah. He did it. For the $18 trillion they're going to invest in that state. Guess what? They decided, no. We don't need that. We got to rebuild. You know, we hated them.
He hated during hours after the only available students attended it at several times. He was repeated playing whether Amsterdam for his final tune in seventh ensemble really hypnotized. You know, this would become the theme the rest of his career. Gavin passed away in 2013. Like his quest, ashes scattered. By the time Richie Haven finally allowed this stop, Sweetwater had finally made it, thanks to us. After, they began playing at approximately 10. Next was the Hindi punk, Swami Sachidanand, River afterward referred to as Sat. At 10 p.m., its guitarist Ronnie Shanker took stage. He brought with him the first against potential others. Turned the entire area concert-goer and journalist Hendrik Pritzker cited as not stage described the result as public, our sleeping bag that was not hopeless. Our spot was right next to the aisle, 6-mile river. Putting to Hertzberg, while he was trying this, a constant, never-ending stream of people back and all night long without a seat. Actually, security at Woodstock was supposed to be provided by off-duty New York City police. Only days before the concert, the NYPD deliberately reminded it that off-duty equipment was from that fell through. The only police present was local forces surrounding areas. They spent most of their time attempting to access around possible. Arrests for drug possession non-existent. Did the concert grounds itself all sorts of narcotics were traded. LSD, marijuana, a massive acceptable stage, and numerous smoke camps were erected where hung out in dirt patty chase. Official concession stands were out of food by late Friday night. The concessionaire was an entity metal club. Last-minute hire after corporate entities gave them hot dogs and restaurant fine. Love was overwhelmed by demand and began charging $1 for a hot dog. Comparison, price for a hot dog a cent. The huge lines and long waits, ultimately some festival tourists decided to burn down the concessions. Remarkably, the Hog Farm Collective, famous can cooking, various groups. That required frequently 10 blankets. While some accounts say the reports of rampant sex activity in Woodstock were exaggerated, many others said shocked at the lack of inhibition. Walter Mills was a 19-year-old recent high school graduate at Woodstock. Both Tuesday, he was, according to Mills, all these taking it. I remember looking. From that couple, those still take it started to catch all couple gets off. That was not an isolated incident. 21-year-old Randy Holiday told the Danville Observer, natural, it was a real tension. Certainly felt like partisan. I felt like very fun.
Anything is beautiful if you want to do it. If you can.
The fourth aspect of Woodstock was quality. Line of legendary rock acts like The Who, Clearwater Revival, Janis Joplin, Jefferson Airplane, Tucker, Crosby, Stills and Nash, Grateful Dead, among many others. However, getting to the show was no feature of the audience. In fact, because of the traffic problems, motors eventually had to obtain helicopters. In acts. Even with all the logistical issues, traffic jams, contracted bands, sales, just back group. Didn't show. Had a brief case of just festival Iron Butterfly and got it to be somewhat popular. Also, however, according to concert Todd Morris, they demanded helicopters ready to fly them onto the thing and take them out and to arrange that, Iron Butterfly had to be scratched. Lineup. Woodstock ethos had always been described as an environment where hundreds of together. Violence and brotherhood. Accounts of sharing whatever food, alcohol, water, clothing, blankets, soap, and protection. Common. While that attitude may have been common, and professional, that several of the performers and management tend to adopt a hard knuckle approach to the conflict, emphasizing the chaotic lack of orchestra and extended. The Who, Grateful Dead, and Janis Joplin hold photos on hours his office and then went to the site with some money and cashier. Happy. Promoters had the most difficulty signing Jimmy. They kept their fee for any artist at $1,000, but by 1999, pretty much his fee than anywhere. Now, as much as time. Absolutely. Paid him the highest paid performer. Promoters also wanted to put Hendrix on it Saturday. However, they were told Hendrix would only perform last, and suddenly, supposed to be put on Sunday, but made Hendrix did not appear until 9 a.m. By then, the crowd had went. His set lasted 2 hours, longest of, and included the legendary Star Spangled Banner. Very rare opera. Funny, but Watley, it was amazing. I looked out with one eye and some having a fit. Other people impressed. Because Woodstock wasn't televised, it wasn't a piece of the documentary that both praised and damned. Dustin finding today. Hendrix perspective on the moment was almost all eyewitness accounts of all non-violent experiences. Brother, Woodstock's legacy of love was not just fantasized then. It was the way it happened. Chief of the nearby Monticello Police Department stated in more times, notwithstanding their personality, dress, they were and they are the most priest. I-24. Carl Loberfield was at Woodstock with fellow camper. When his parents had seen harrowing accounts of traffic jams and the rampant drug use, called the camp and camper return home, Loberfield calmed it down by supplying the perspective listening. According to an MSNBC called I Was Raised on the Trust People. There were 500,000. Really? That's it. Far out, man.
There is cordless and portable. Great for inviting friends too. With a wide range of scents, to make every occasion fragrant and exciting. Available in marble design, Airwick, always fragrant, always exciting.
Mark Bannon, lack of potable water, space galaxy, and low diet. During the summer of 19, tried to recreate the then choked the life out of the 90s. Lifeless corpse on top of a weightless ball bonfire. Today, we're going to find out how Woodstock 99 went off the rails. In an anticipated crowd, okay, got it. I'm back. They brag. That's not. That's how Rome had become the population. Cartel Stockton, cars were everywhere. All the moment this man stepped on stage, grabbed the tag. Walked out, the crowd was as far as like sounded like Top 99 briefly. Without warm. Temperature average 100 degrees. Lead factor is 10. Woodstock 6. Lush. Very close. Acid. Stage high. Top 99 with unribbon. Pumpkin. Aircraft. Some areas. Some parts. Top 99 have been on. Half. How Roman. Top Sheffield. Right. Miles of asphalt. Fire. Kristen. Rascal. Not going to buy it. Not going to out. Places. Kevin Wasserman. Offspring. Forest. Even more group. Latest festival. Middle. Park. So I play. The 3,000 private dogs. 500 truck stations. And local bought off. That number could double. 30 minutes. That's 1 foot top heat on. Like sign the sheet. I'm like better. Back. By the end of the half that that's betting. Crafted. Coming up. Water. Festival. Atmosphere. Of course, the festival. You need to buy a 12-ounce bottle of water from Colors. Dandelion. Foster. Perfect. Half mile. We need to buy. Eventually, got frustrated. Got any water. Water. Their own thing. Water. Rates them. On pipe. Perfect. Water. Low. Salt with the brown. Now all that footage you saw in Moshi. I think it's a party. Top 99 orders. 2,500. That's it. How often? On the second day, essentially backed up the calls from public calls. Festival. If we're complaining, that's too. Leave that. By the end of the festival, at least 1,200 tons of solid waste, 500,000 gallons of carbonated mud. All lifted, function, not done. Majority of the negative press coverage related to the festival, affected Clean One, and Saturday late afternoon festival catalyst. That's the business crowd was already in. That's this point early mud with an amateur. Battery, camera, power to the right of the camera platform. And I got on packs at 100,000 candles. Okay. Audience like this. Bad idea. Rolling Stone's Brian Hyatt. Candle. Fire. On fire thinking. The mayor of Rome asked Anthony. Audience. Now. The mayor Greco called. Fairly apropos of this situation. On fire. For the song, we just surveyed the air. Like apocalypse now. Then you can hear please. Yeah. Fire. Wild. The number of fires. Over. That. Actually, Tom caused that. Man has always worked. Tom was his senseless. Upraised, holiday, fire, out there. And they get a comment in Tom. Action. Saying that. So, from our Chad Smith, I remember we were getting ready to go. That's the one. Great. And, hey, I know you. Like it's your last song. As the Chili Peppers walked off the stage, as far as any tremble. At these cases of petrol. All you have to do is stop it. Scorching temperature. Any of them not in hot. Hot. Power. Action. Effort. According to the or no, all actions. Having multiple. All in all, about 99 was passed. At the end, he tells her engagement. Her closer later. And you get rid. Make sure. On her own. Follow her. Motor's still out. What's what? But who knows? Thanks to the purple. Only paid the application. The 1981 film follows a man, wild animal in Africa, filled with Catholic But that wasn't an option for Marshall. Real lion. Not just lions. Once principal photography began in October 76. Menagerie of animals. Walk on. Animal cast of 100 lions, tigers, leopards, cougars, jaguars. Big cats. Less clawed, but eat. Crisp. 1,000-pound-old elephant. Inspiration. A real-life experience. Colonel Marshall. Hendrick. First got the idea. Traveling to Africa. Couple visited a cave on by the lion. After that, they came up with the premise of the scientist, harmony with the lion, protecting them. The couple figured that in Africa, God was so in 71, started to raise lion cubs. Same city where they spent time. Three African. Noel and Tippy also shared the house with their three. Marshall and Hedren actually thought they were being safe. Teasing lion, children, minimize the view, casting, attack, plus production. Rector's son, John Marshall, was home living in the house with lions for about 6 months. Shown that they referred to them as Lockwood. As upcoming developed crossing. In a development that probably was thinking, small like the Kirk Creek. You think the production would be contrary, Old Marshall and several of them likely had attacked and done. Then includes both his stepdaughter and wife. Hospital. An atmosphere naturally created a lot of people. Dangerous real life distress is visible on the screen. Not only was Marshall not winning, but the father of the characters, RZ. By all accounts, Marshall was passing through. According to his son John, Marshall was all cut, actors crying out. According to film critic Matt Singer, the actors in four were playing something. In force. He also mused that roar of authentic message. But that message is contradicted by seeing actors lions wrecking, jumping, and generally scaring the crap out of everyone. Hedren's teenage daughter, Melanie Griffith, wolves of vile, bonfire Kennedy, captain, and the experienced catapult. In fact, she quit the project at one point on an end-up-with applicant. But, unfortunately for her, she passed. She was caught by a lion, restricted in facial structures, damage, adding insult to injury. Back. Tippy Hedren wrote a book called Captain Paula. Harley, she wrote that her story about the production of All by Lions, Hospital, actually. It's difficult to comprehend, evidently, will kill them. Nearly got killed by cats. Record, Hedren, her fair share of production. Looked gangrene so the elephant crushed her leg. Hidden on the back of the head by a lion, left suffered leg fractures, skin grafts, by Tempo, fighting him, and actually final cut. Noel Marshall's son John Marshall acted it, among many others. But the rest of the family did not escape. And another on-camera incident that happened very early. Male lion did go
was did by one chick in 1982. And we just took away 90% of them. Just weird thing. And so they're showing you picture of it. Finally, the doctor to give me medication. This way. Let's say that's who he shoots. And then
Dr. John Marshall,
then
like a professional in admin.
1970,
Did
stopped being manufactured. So the tertiary used to be 7 5 o'clock.
weather.
There, firing down. And giving it the good more setting. More like you
We got a number?
Hey, you 32. It's dated. Full body arthritis. So, I'm here. So, and my brother was here. Yeah. He passed me, I've been here alone. 19 years.
Access, father, captain, medicine.
I don't have any blood relatives. I have a friend I grew up with in Bloodfield. He and his wife live 40 miles west of it. It takes an hour and a half to get here. It's kind of like Connecticut, you know. The road's kind of like Charlestown. And, but that's it. Have, I'm going to be buried born by accident, family cemetery. And because business will bring up anyway. And cremated. And cemetery. And I back up. To get back up. So they go home. 650. For Bobby's like 60. Some people say that. I'll do that.
It's screened in various theaters.
Brothers in cancer. They can't.
Decades later, however,
They follow them.
company released movies.
We're on Spanish grandparents.
Film was also being sold by
Everyone?
Out.
No. Don't be alone. So, yeah. So, my passing. So, lots of stuff. Table. Scary.
American. Like kind of intro.
Last story I wrote
One like
was 17 and his friend.
Dated film. And this
This
is
is a friend of mine.
dating show. The wild
We go to St. Louis I
Twilight Zone, a TV show that ran
big wagon.
it was its greatest brainchild, better plots.
And then roller
Show
skates.
as
It was a day by day
I've
like
seen.
girl.
But it's kind of 1980s. Back to Twilight Zone. Ultimately, Steven Spielberg matches decided to fellow Hollywood and elevate Rod Sermon's masterpiece into speed. Spielberg decided that the Twilight Zone movie be made good success.
And they're like, they're basically,
The directors chose project
relationships that have
Dante.
I don't know what to say.
John Langdon and veteran character actor Nick Morrow passed his honor deeply. Carmen Twisted Fate, curiously back in time, skipping time period, finds himself as a Jew, nothing, and then as a black man, and then finally in peace. He finds himself protecting all children. Originally, the ending of Time Out showed that Bill Connor stayed remorseless. Iris. However, after this human rescue return, Landis added his Connor seat. Fire. Life, thus giving the character importance. The character utters the words, "I swear to God, I'll protect you." Movie unimportant. As pre-production ramped up, Landis and the rest of his time problem solved, and quietly. They had to figure out how to incredibly complex and time-intensive Screen Actors Guild has stringent requirements, and they required someone on the crew suggested that in order to find out this requirement, they required to non-union pay them as extras. Landis, children's parents, doctor, major, prior to Landis and company did a shot around height question. Sent that to the parents. Then around 2:30 in the morning, got to the massive explosion was captured. The helicopter pilot was highly unsafe. Rain machine.
This guy watched it.
Nico asked his
19
that how
he made like two.
But before they had a chance to discuss Landis,
19 years
saying,
ago.
fly low. They didn't
Well,
think
it
that
hit me.
and just
They didn't open it.
built
It,
it fell using
it took better to
Say
that.
that it's not
It was like it quickly paralyzed. See, I guess it's out of it. But the doctor gave me, the 60th maybe off. I'm 33.
children.
And the doctor took kind of medication because they were swaying a lot of So, it looks like 70. Not manufacturing. So, again, it's only placement. So, the Christian and, give me,
The actors.
give me,
Now,
they took me like this. And, instant, full body arthritis. Had a pain before. And, aphasia, pneumonia, room.
I just wasn't able to react with it. The actors just comfortably kind of did. head was crushed by the body. Sentence slowed down immediately after the accident.
Last arrow
Hospital
was
stopped crying.
myself, 17.
Staff diagnosed
Go on. Being behind. And that movie, so he's going to St. Louis and he keeps everything. And getting of course, big wagon, California. That's today my day journal.
recommended for a helicopter. Accepted it. The action it died. Public wanted justice. Tragedy and public outcry surrounding the accident and the Twilight Zone led to both and and trip. 1986, 8 trials that Landis and Confederate brought up on 3 counts of negligence, 3 counts of death and assault. The initial trial was started for lack of evidence, then trial. Jurors of the trial were observing at one point how patient crash happened and watched the reenactment of Landis that was quiet for
I don't think I'll see it
when
today.
asked if he had used it prior to the trial, he responded,
I got
only very hard watching.
plans
Mike
to.
Elise annually testified that he
I don't think I'll go around tomorrow either. Because tomorrow I plan on
closed it.
going off be hurt.
They all
Ride around the
testified that
tent
they were
tractor. Tomorrow I'll be thing up there. Very fine. Shooting. Yeah. We have rattlesnake. Haven't seen any recently.
My mom cannot explain that. Actually, all of that. And with that, and then another family that whose children were standbys who were also
Of course, it is. Casper trial. Productionist Donna Shute testified that she saw Victor fall absolutely in jail for heading it. Trial raged on with each side getting more involved. Every day after the trial would break, defense and the prosecutor stand in the hallway, told the other side liars, asses, cameras. Ultimately, defendants were acquitted. 9-month trial that 7. Prosecutor later went on record saying that one of the factors that why the jury is innocent was that they had somehow been told Don Landis of the trial and that he was going to arrest them. So they wanted to see the stage interfere in it, logically, and to make it look arms. Was this true? Jury reportedly heard this, whatever Landis was really single manager. So effectively, we know. So, what is the victim's families? Narrow's families settled out of court. Children's families collected millions of dollars. Lawsuits, obviously not meet child. Landis spoke about the incident in 1996. There was absolutely no good aspect about this tragedy affecting other reading and its moment. Possibly. Behavior during the trial was worthless. Total attention.
They just get drive-by viewers. They feel entitled. But drive-by, look, not say anything. Don't mention anything they do.
Dracula and his color. Pop culture has long been fascinated by hence blood-sucking vampires. Once upon a time, vampires were fucking monsters. But they were everywhere. The lore behind the institution of the naturally created that ravaged North America and Europe. Today, we're going to take a look at how a 19th century panic vampires and the late 18th and 19th, England, they fight tuberculosis.
Well, do will get through the day.
Infectious
Take it.
bacteria.
Yeah, work out.
Sure.
And people are not doing one. Everything's dollars.
Tuberculosis. Ultimate population. No vaccine, antibiotics. Fact is, they're very common treatment. And it's all. Those that are only mythical explanation. Vanity.